Hi, I'm Ricky Fort and welcome to the Real Estate 101 podcast. Join me as I lift the lid on the real estate industry and share some great stories from behind the scenes. Like and subscribe and enjoy this episode. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of Real Estate 101. My name is Ricky Fort, your host from Geelong Real Estate Co. Absolute real estate royalty here today from a training, from an everything perspective. So, Immy, welcome to the show.
Ricky, thank you so much for having me. What a pleasure to be on this incredible show that you're doing.
You're a classic. It's certainly not an incredible show. And you just dropped a bomb on me before we started that your next podcast was with Maddie Steinway and you're hitting 30,000 views. So no pressure at all. Great way to make me feel good. Good start.
You do have to remember I was a broadcast journalist and I used to read live bulletins for 2 million. So.
We'll get to that, but surely as a real estate coach, you know, we're all about egos, right? And I certainly have a very sensitive ego. So, mate, look, incredible bio. We could go all day with you, but reporter on Channel 7, Channel 10, various radio shows. But where I fell in love with you and your presentation, your voice, was obviously your days at realestate.com when I think you were their go-to and you went to all the conferences and things like that. But obviously from there you've gone on and done a host of other things, but you're doing your own thing now called the Media Coach. So I'm super thankful and thanks again for coming on the show.
Well, I'll give you a bit of a brief insight into my background, Ricky, because it's different. So I was formerly a broadcast newsreader and journalist for 7 and 10, and I've got a cracking news reading voice. Are you ready for it?
Go.
That's all from the Media Coach. I'm Imogen Callister. Thanks for joining me.
How good is that? That is incredible. I think I've asked you in the past, but obviously if people want advice or help, just have got kids that maybe struggle with confidence and things like that, what's one thing that they can do at home to just potentially get better in front of speaking in front of people, or just a bit of self-confidence?
Look, I think a lot of people, when you tell them their background, you naturally think that you are confident. Now, I will be very transparent. From the age of 6, I was awarded the Prime Minister's Citizenship Award for my speaking.
Wow.
So I've been on stage for a very long time, unfortunately, for many people. But the truth is anything takes hard work and skill. You know, a lot of the times people get nervous around talking or presenting or doing things because they value the people sitting in front of them, which is, everybody does appreciate feedback. But once you let go of other people's opinions, even now I'll give a talk and there'll be somebody that'll come running up after me and they'll say, "Oh, Amy, do you want me to give you feedback on them?" And I kind of look at them and, now don't get me wrong, I hope it doesn't come across arrogant, but if you were to look at that person giving you feedback, 9 times out of 10, they're not standing on stage, they're not providing information, they're not doing the tours I'm doing.
Yeah.
And they very quickly provide you with unscrupulous feedback. So I think what's really important is, it does take skill and it does take practice to get good at something. But if you really want to get better at something, it's really about breaking down what other people think about you. Because if you don't value that person, you should never value their feedback. And as somebody who's worked in media for a very long time and worked with very big brands and people that always have an opinion on you, don't get me wrong, if my husband told me today that I suck balls, then I would probably take that on.
Well, he's been around. I guess he's heard you, and for a very long time, and you value his feedback, so it totally makes sense. I think we're too quick to voice an opinion when potentially we're not entitled to that. And go back to what Mum said when I was a kid. If you got nothing nice to say, don't say it at all. So, good start to the show, obviously, and that's why you're ranked. I think it was REB Real Estate Coach of the Year in 2022.
Yeah. So my background, obviously, I was a journalist, but I realized after quite some time here, my job was dead. No one was watching the news anymore. No one was getting home, turning on the 6 p.m. news. And despite studying media, some elements of law and psychology at the University of New South Wales, there was really no point in me trying to grace that TV screen. So I went on to master what was going to take it, and that is digital media. I obviously work for big companies, and now that have obviously been purchased by property portals like Domain and also like realestate.com.au. But there was always a little burning passion inside of me to help people understand how media has transformed And what that means for whether you're a consumer or also for a small business trying to accelerate growth, because it's a very cluttered world. But with the right strategy, you can, and you can really change the way that you reach your customers or the people that you're trying to service. And it has a big part now in growth and fold to what you can do with the business. So my career obviously stemmed from a lot of failure. I think a lot of people, I remember I gave a presentation recently, and I hope if anyone's listening from Perth, I'll be over there doing, I hate to say motivational talks, but I will be talking about that, because what I often do tell people is never look at my rainbow, because you have no idea how much rain it's taken to get there. And sometimes I will look at other mums and I'll be like, wouldn't it be lovely to get maternity leave? Wouldn't it be nice to not have to breastfeed and that's required in school? But I truly do love what I do. And I obviously specialize predominantly in the real estate arena now. But I specialize across 3 aspects, which is text message lead generation, social media marketing, and lead generation from social media. I think this month from our text messages, we've received 2,096 appraisals for agents. From social media, there's been, I think, 12 sales globally straight through social media ads. And, I truly love helping my clients connect with potential people in their market. And obviously my last division is Agent School, which is an online global training school, which helps agents or people interested in sales and growing their business and brand, which got me obviously awarded REB Coach of the Year, which, it was a huge honor. It was a really huge honor after having a child and being recognized with that.
Yeah. I think you hit the nail on the head, although it's a real estate specific skill, it's a real estate specific thing that you're focusing on, but your skill set really, obviously being a business owner, I know the stuff that you're teaching, basically you take the word real estate out and you can copy paste essentially anything in terms of like lead generation. So if you're a plumber or like, that's really exciting, your business and what you're doing. I think it goes back to, I remember hearing you speak at realestate.com.au and I could see your passion was bigger than just the brand and standing up and giving a presentation, that you genuinely wanted to help real estate agents. I remember reaching out to you after that course and we've been connected since, I think it was about 2018 or something like that. But it's such a fast evolving space and there's a lot of real estate agents out there that are dinosaurs but it happens so quickly that we need someone like you to break it down and to keep us, because even realestate.com, like how quickly that was evolving and things. I remember some of the presentations you used to give were a little bit daunting because it's like, holy shit, these are the facts and the figures and this is how quickly it's moving. And without someone like you that has their finger on the pulse, because real estate agents, you can't be everywhere. You can't be trying to service your clients to the best of your ability and sell houses and use scripts and dialogues and negotiation and run around doing open for inspections and call people back, but also be an absolute expert in this field. So it makes total sense why your business has come about.
I think one of the major things is, if anybody's out there listening, whether they're a small business owner, a real estate agent, or someone trying to break into becoming an entrepreneur, you have to understand the media landscape has changed. And the predominant change of that is it's gone from consumer to prosumer. So let me just quickly break that down. Prosumer, we watch television, okay? And we get said marketing messages. But the average Australian now sees between 5,000 and 7,000 ads a day, okay? So your ads have to be so targeted and personalized to get cut through. Otherwise, spam gets ignored. So when someone becomes a prosumer, they actually consume your brand and take action on your message. So if you're sitting there right now and you're like, oh my God, I really want to grow my business. I really want to grow my brand. I'm really struggling. I'm posting on Facebook and I'm sending out marketing messages, but they're going nowhere. I can tell you instantly the hiccup. So if you are driving, obviously don't start writing this down. But if you are not driving, please do write this down for me. Branding, marketing, advertising, they're 3 words that constantly get mixed together. Branding, what is my unique selling point as a difference, or what do I offer different than anybody else as a competitor? Marketing, what channels am I using, from Instagram, Facebook, letterbox drops, text messaging, emails to get that message seen. And then lastly, who am I paying to amplify that message, which is advertising? So there's three very different things. So for example, let's take digital media really simply. You know, a lot of the times I'll walk into an agent and they'll say, "Oh, social media doesn't work." And I'll say, "Oh, why that?" I'll say, don't do anything." So, okay. "Are you posting?" "Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah." "Are you running an ad?" "Yeah, yeah, I boost." "No, no, I didn't say boost. I said, are you running an ad?" "Well, no, I boost." "Okay, okay. And how much are you spending on that?" $10. "Yeah, that's probably not going to work." See, if you break that down, branding, marketing, advertising, you come up with three things, which is owned media, earned media, and paid media. So owned media is the channels we control. It's how we represent that brand message or that unique selling point. Effectively what we post. But you'll never get a lead from posting. Facebook, there's two types of industries that get to call it client visit. There's the cocaine and the crack one. Don't specialize in that. That's a digital media one. And, you know, digital media, you're a user that, you know, essentially you've got to pay to play. And that's where your advertising strategy comes in. So often I'll sit down with someone and say, "Are you running property ads? Are you running, you know, sold campaigns? Are you running sort of lead generation and brand awareness?" And I'll go, "No." And I'll say, "Well, there's a reason why it's not working." It's like if you're a plumber and you're showing great service in what you're doing, unless you're using a paid strategy, you're never going to get that seen. You know, you're never ever going to reach people in your marketplace. So obviously my system now, because real estate, if you learn to master real estate marketing, let me tell you, it's the hardest place to get a lead from. You can pretty much help any small business, right? I remember I had a childcare centre I took on, and to be fair, I do try and stick predominantly in the real estate arena, but it was a sister of my, one of my clients, and I said, of course I'll help. You know, she was able to take her childcare business overnight from no potential till she had 160 waiting lists the next day because she invested in paid media for Facebook ads with really great content. And obviously, you know, are you a parent living in, are you frustrated for paying 6 days in childcare? Bang. Straight away, you know, I had
That's depressing because I know what we need to spend and stuff from a real estate perspective, and I know how much, because we probably overproduce real estate agents as a whole, like, and I'm not really big on it anymore, but like, you know, just listed this house, just sold this house, like there needs to be more, you know, and everyone's just doing the same thing. So like, yeah, without substance behind it and without a process, it's just that spray and pray mentality. I think what we've got wrong, and you hear, that's what I said before you said that you could copy paste what you're doing into essentially, I know you're a busy girl, you don't really have the capacity for that, but I'm sure people are going to reach out to you hearing that story of how your buddy turned someone's childcare thing around, you know, overnight. Probably done yourself a disservice there. People will be calling you and harassing you, but we don't condone that. But I don't blame them for reaching out to you. I've got to go back though. We went too hard, too fast. Tell me about the first time you were on the telly. Were you shitting yourself? I know you said you've had confidence from a young age. You present beautifully. Your voice is amazing. But surely there's a thing where you're standing in front of the camera. You're like a, you know.
I think I've had, I remember this one, the thing so just, I started in newsrooms when I was 15, right? One of the biggest cases I ever ended up breaking was, a young girl in Mothman had a collarbone wrapped around her neck, and I was basically
I
able to
remember
keep
that.
up. Yeah, so I was basically able to keep up with police and who they were looking for, and I found him on LinkedIn. He's out of jail now, so let's not make that too much.
Oh,
But, you know, I think I've kind of been so conditioned to sort of newsrooms, but I've definitely embarrassed myself on live television.
good. Give me this.
There was one time, there was like a huge float that a town had kind of invested in, and I was going out and doing like a regional tour so that, you know, we often do that in newsrooms promoting around the country. And they had this huge pool floaty that they just bought and invested in. But the camera guy that was filming me at the time, his staff got caught in the motor machine. And so basically I was just thinking while my camera was live to air, oh, pool floaty just slowly going down. As I was, but because I was so focused on keeping my eye line level on the camera and keeping really focused on what I was saying, I had no idea that I was basically drowning. And my camera guy could only really care about the equipment that I was carrying. So he just kept saying, throw the mic. And I'm like, oh, ladies and gentlemen, we're probably going to have to cut here. But we've got what seems to be a bit of a situation. So I've definitely embarrassed myself all the time live on air.
Love that.
One that the makeup checks are always really important. I've read a couple of bulletins with spinach in my teeth and lipstick all over them.
I've done a full listing presentation with a big piece of sushi stuck in here. So that was, yeah, I got home and my wife's like, what is that? Needless to say, I got the listing though, and they never brought it up. So I felt better about that.
I did just do them all. But I think camera confidence, I think one of the things that we really have to understand now is it's not what people are looking for. So what do I mean by that? Instantly go home and have a look at how many people talked about it on camera. Go into your social media feed tonight or now and take a look at how many people are genuinely looking down camera. Because if they are, I can guarantee you they're doing a sales pitch. If you watch any show, whether it's like Big Brother or Vlog or anything, nobody's staring down the camera going, here's the latest news today, right? And so what people really want to see is not being pitched to, but an everyday moment of that happening. Like everyday life, everyday things. And so if you stop selling and start showing the real you, and I hate that word, like the authentic you, like what's that? I love it when people say to me, oh, you're going to be your authentic self. I'm like,
which one?
Is that like...
No one wants to see me at home. I was going to say at home on the couch in the trackies, and no one wants that. That's a different authentic you.
There's two kinds of authentic you. There's like the high-powered business leader, and then there's the mum that has a bun on her head and has vomit all over her and, cries daily, babies. So I think it's really about understanding that camera, and I do even politician training. So pollies will come to me and say, I need to learn, or like I'll have people doing big interviews like on 60 Minutes. And it's quite funny because they see that little red light turn on and
just have a meltdown.
Right. And they lose motion of their tongue. And, I've heard so many things, right? And obviously I've coached people to speak on air and big presentations. And the things that I hear, like, imagine everybody in their underpants. I'm like, that sounds scary as shit. When I see everybody in their underpants. Or the other one is like, wiggle your toes. And so, like, I remember one guy came to me and he was just really petrified. And he said to me, like, I'm literally wiggling my toes right now and I'm imagining everyone in their underpants. I'm like, well, no wonder you're nervous, mate. Like, so, but the thing is, the biggest thing that you can do is the hardest part is getting started. Okay. So if you want to sit in front of me right now and say, well, what you need to do is get really comfortable with the introduction of what you're talking about. Yep. Right. But whenever I'm doing a presentation, and sorry for everybody, I'm revealing my secret now, but I will always start off the same. Okay. And I know that sounds a bit boring, but what I mean by that is I'll introduce myself because you can't be arrogant and think everybody in the crowd is knowing what you're doing. But, especially if I'm doing a presentation to over 3,000 to 4,000 people, I'm not going to try and challenge myself. And, I will start off with what I know, like, here is who I am, right? And that's telling a story. I don't have to remember lines. I don't have to remember anything. I'm just telling them who I am.
Yep.
And over time, you get really confident in that. And then once that's done, I launch into what we're going to learn about. And by that stage, any nerves, they will pass because it's gone.
What's that saying? Like, done is better than perfect as well. And I think the other thing people forget is like the shelf life of content. people nowadays, as you said before, the amount of ads that are coming at it, I think people just are so petrified with wanting to come across perfect that they just don't do it. And I think what we've learned is just get it out there because it's gone like so far. So just don't be petrified and wanting perfection.
Well, I think the biggest thing is understanding that social media opens the world for this, but opinions are like our culture.
I usually say belly buttons, but but yeah.
Sorry, we just turned your show into an X-rated.
No, I like it. It's good. Keep it coming.
But they are, and unfortunately, I think Keith Gervais is one of my favorite people in saying it, because he likes stirring people on Twitter and things like that.
Yep.
Years ago, we used to have a community board, but we used to put messages up on it, and he says this, it's like someone walking up to a community board and going, like our lessons, this guy pissing me off.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, the world of social media allows everyone to have quite a strong opinion. And you, as people, unfortunately, it comes back to that value, like I've seen clients get really upset over what somebody said on them on social media, and it's just an idiot they've never met before.
Yeah.
How about this? Block, delete, let's move on. I don't, I'll be honest, recently I had a guy that really harassed me on social media. And by that, I mean, he'd start messaging all my followers. And it was all a scam because what he was trying to do is get money out of me.
Yeah.
Block and delete him, block and delete him, block. And he'll eventually go away.
Yep.
So I think, the major thing is it always comes down to if you're trying to build a brand or if you're trying to build a business, you have to break down those walls because people want to connect with people now. Social media, you can't beat it. It has the largest commodity in the world, and that commodity is attention, right? And you cannot beat that commodity ever. Like you cannot go anywhere else that's going to have that consumer's attention. If I opened up your Facebook feed right now, Ricky, and I opened up mine, it's not going to be the same. In fact, there's over 1 billion users of Facebook, and that includes obviously Instagram and WhatsApp and all those things. But no news feed is ever the same. And that's because Facebook targets ads to you based on, or your content based on your activities, what you're doing both on their platform and through pixel targeting, basically off their platform too. So if you were to break it down and say, well, how do I build a brand? You have to understand that it's actually personalized branding that works now. I see a lot of businesses start up and, they become, start promoting plumbing and things like that, but nobody's going to follow a plumber. It's the same thing for a real estate agency now, like nobody really follows a real estate agency. Who's David and where is Joan, right? These brands, these traditional brands we used to have are so prominent and, used to be so prominent, but because of the world of social media, it's gone. So do you know where Imogen Callister is? No, most people don't. We do have the same last name. But Imogen Callister is probably one of the most iconic Australians in the world. In fact, he invented a brand that is synonymous with being Australian. In fact, if you don't know what this brand is, you're not really an Aussie, in my opinion. Do you know what brand I'm talking about?
Vegemite?
Yeah. Right?
A plus.
You win. And every Australian is known for being Vegemite is such a prominent brand. But the day of Vegemite was a colour, a font, and a logo. And it was red. And marketing managers were texting around, like, go and have a look at big, brands in food. McDonald's, KFC, they all have red in it, right? It's because the concept that it made people hungry, right? But the truth is that those ways of marketing are gone now. The reason why you don't know Cyril Lang is the social media didn't exist, right? Everybody would advertise on television and come up with smart jingles. Now, people want to follow people. People don't want to follow brands. They don't want to be sold to. They don't have time to be sold to. Influencer marketing was on the rise. So what is really hard for people right now, especially as business owners, um, they don't want a personal brand. And let's take a look at my husband, right? Like, so my husband is a chiropractor. He's in health. He hates social media. I'm like, did you realize you're married? Yeah. He hates it. And then, late last year, he had a bit of a situation, where he had a chiropractor leave him. And like anybody who has got an associate in their business, there's a downfall to when you lose business. Um, and, I said to him, well, you can be a stay-at-home dad and I'll look after you, or you can follow my marketing advice. You've got two options. And he said, well, I'd rather literally poke a fork in my eye than be a stay-at-home mother to you. I was like, this is okay. So it's my marketing advice then. He's like, sure, you've got 2 months. And I was like, okay. My husband's just gone viral on TikTok with over 1.4 million views. He's gone from having a clinic just in Sydney to a satellite and international Indonesian clinic. It didn't happen overnight, but I had to promote his personal brand. Now, he walks down the street and people walk up and go, hey, what's going on? TikTok, right? But what I'm trying to give as an example here is you don't have to love being on social media, but you have to accept it. And then you have to learn how to not use it as a scroll hole for you to just, my husband would constantly be on it, watching surf videos.
It's funny, I hate social media, but I don't want to produce, but I want to consume.
Yeah.
So many people just sit there endlessly scrolling as business owners, but think it doesn't work. It's like, well, yeah, check out your screen time. And I guess we use that a lot in a listing presentation when we chat to a seller about, are they going to use print media, and it's $880 for a one-page ad that's got a circulation of X, or you could spend that same amount on social media and potentially get Y. I'm not saying you'd be pro or against print media, but I think how many people are walking around looking at the Geelong Advertiser for 8 hours a day as opposed to potentially looking at their phone for 8 hours a day?
100%. I mean, the average consumption of social media sits anywhere between 5 to 7 hours a day. People don't believe me when I say that, and then I say, well, go and check out your app time.
Yep.
And that's what I talk about, like commodity. It's the largest one in the world.
Attention.
So small business, and you're sitting there right now, and you're like, yeah, I'm using social media, but it's not working.
Yep.
I can tell you it is. You're posting on the platform, you're not running an ad.
Yep.
If you are running ads and you're not getting results, you need to look at another provider. Because
you need to check out Immy's link tree, because she'll sort you out. Tell agents. This podcast is not designed for agents at all. Actually, I almost remove real estate agents from following me and I don't follow any other real estate agents because it's bad for my mental health, and I just want to be me and swim in my own lane and things like that. But I guess for anyone that is listening that somehow snuck through the cracks, like, I guess, where do they find you, and what can they expect to pay or get out of it, or how does that process work to give yourself a little plug? Because obviously you coming on here is totally free, and I'm so appreciative of your generosity, and there's nothing in it for you. So, yeah, I guess how can people help themselves by reaching out to you?
Yeah, well, you can always obviously find me on my Instagram or all my social media. I'm on there all the time, which is at Imogen Callister. The best thing to always do is WhatsApp me, so you can go to my website. I hardly use emails anymore because I hate them. But I do obviously check my emails. But yeah, Imogen Callister on Instagram is probably the best one, or WhatsApping me further. You'll always be able to get my attention there. I think on average now I receive around 257 WhatsApps an hour.
Jeepers. If that doesn't give you anxiety, nothing will. That's horrible.
I have a great team though, so don't.
Yeah, you do.
I don't have to reply. I have a team of 14 who I literally like my right hand. I've worked really hard selecting my team members, and I'm truly I haven't lost one since I started. So I truly feel lucky that I have them. Even now, I can see that they're getting. My team have a KPI of getting back to our customers within 2 minutes. So they're very quick. You can test that out.
That's insane.
And that's what I love about WhatsApp because,
Do you reckon plumbers get back to people within 2 minutes?
if you have great systems and processes in your business, you can create anything,
Yep.
right? Like, so, if you send an email, how do you know if that person's read it?
Yeah.
You don't. But if I send a WhatsApp, I can see a read receipt.
Yep.
So I can see when my team receives that. And no matter what business you're in, people will always, some people have difficult days, one of the same. And like if a client, not that I haven't had one, but if a client said I'm not happy with your service, I can turn around and say, so did you want me to reply quicker than 1 minute?
Yeah.
I don't know if that's possible. I need to be able to write the text.
Yeah.
But the most important thing, if you want to let's switch off social media now, but the most important thing in this world and in this era, and it's something that I'm doing my next tour on, is what is so important in the business world now, as we've had this rise in digital and online platforms, is service and care. And you can't teach care, Ricky. You really cannot teach care.
My dad used to say that. We've owned our own businesses for years. You can't pay people to care, and you can't teach people to care.
You can't pay people to care. And that's why I know, one of my girls made a mistake yesterday and she started bawling her eyes out on me. And thinking, I'm not angry at you. Why are you crying? I don't want you to feel like that. I just really felt like I let that person down. But I actually called the customer and I let them know about that. And I said, look, I want to let you know, everything's going to be compliment. And he started laughing and he said, Immy, you guys are amazing. You're allowed to make one mistake. It's fine. And I said, I know, but I do really, you guys, I know you care, but you can't teach care.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, even Ava, she really cared. She really, she was so upset that mistake had happened. So the first important thing is care. And then the second thing is service. And a lot of people say, oh, well, what is service and how do you create great service? Put simply, service is the way that you make someone feel. If I stand at an Aldi checkout, yes, I can get the most, Aldi and Aldi, I always forget two of them. I literally get heart palpitations and panic attacks while I'm trying to pack my shopping.
Like that meme where they're like, shoo, 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 shoo.
Oh my God. And it's and I remember I was with my little boy, I was overwhelmed. I had my 2-year-old the other day. I was just so stressed and I was like, oh my God, you're so tired when you have kids as it is. And the guy just started to slow down and then he said, he called his other guy over because he wasn't prepared. He said, would you like me to help you walk back to the car? And so what service is truly the way that you make someone feel.
Yeah.
So you can slide through those things really quickly, but it's always about how the final product is, how your customers feel. So for anybody looking at improving their business, small, large, especially in large businesses, you get lost now, and just because you've got an online product or a service, it only takes a smile. It only takes making someone's day by sometimes people, I remember a customer said to me the other day, said, Immy, you're always happy. And I thought, I'm definitely not. Definitely not. I'm always tired with 2 kids under 2. But I said, oh, thanks, that makes me feel really good. And the truth is, Ricky, it doesn't matter how sick my day is. Whenever I pick up the phone, I'm like, hey, Matt, how are you?
Yeah.
And he knows that I'm going to be on to help him.
Yeah.
And then I might get off the phone and have a good cry, but I'm not, customer service mode is going to always be so strong. So just remember, in all the digital world and everything right now, the one thing that you'll never take away is that people want to connect with people. And the biggest mistake you can ever make in growing a business is to forget the human side of it, because ultimately they're the ones that buy your service and they're the ones that buy the brand. And lazy, no customer service representative, crazy people on the phone, people just don't have time for it anymore.
Yeah. Before we let you go, we're massively over time. A couple of your favorite customers or people that you work with. Obviously, Maddie Steinway, Jess Templeton from our office is obsessed with Maddie. I think she's got a photo of him shirtless up on her wall. But what's he like to deal with? He looks.
I'll tell us that right now.
Yeah, he looks like a fun cat. So he's good to work with.
Oh, Maddie, I think he's one of the most exceptional human beings I've met on this planet. You
Yeah.
know, if you know that story, he's turned his life around from, I wouldn't say crime, but drugs and crime. And I think he's been very transparent in that,
Yeah.
in sharing his story. And he's now probably one of the, I think in the world, one of the most successful agents in the world. But one of the true nature of Matt is when you get to know him, he has absolutely no ego.
Yep.
And he is the most caring, compassionate, loyal, and he really wants to help people.
Yep.
He really, when I did agent school, he didn't want to make money out of people. He didn't want to make money out of agents, but he constantly get contacted by people saying, "Can you mentor me?" Now, Matt obviously doesn't have time for that, because, you know, he can't, you know, like he's got so much on. So when he originally did it, it wasn't about money. It was just about being able to help other agents grow.
Yep.
And so if you look at the really successful people I work with, none of them really care about money, Vicky, and I think that's a really important thing. None of them really care.
When you talk about the really important people you work with and number one real estate agent in the world, we've actually got him coming on next, and I think you know him well. Obviously, Dick Slider.
Oh, stop it.
So
You know, I did a blog speaking of this week, I couldn't tell him. But I've got a video coming up with him, which will be great. But you know, he's an amazing story. Look at what he's done with social media. You know, he's an incredible cat. He's you know what, I asked he wouldn't give you a straight answer, but Dick's got one of the best personas ever. And if you've ever really meet him in real life, he is a humble, hardworking, lovable unit,
Yeah.
you know. So
we absolutely you're working with some of the biggest scalps. So, mate, we again, I'm massively over time. I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for coming on the show because, as I said, there's nothing in it for you. We haven't paid you or anything like that. But I think people are going to get a lot out of this, whether it be mums, you know, trying to run something from home or dads with the plumbing business. I think people can get a lot out of it, and I hope they reach out to in the appropriate portion that people don't spam you and whatever and try and get you to take on their childcare centre. But again, thanks for your time, and you're an absolute sweetheart, and congratulations on the new addition to the family, and yeah, glad it's all going really well.
my pleasure. Good luck with Dick.
What a sign off.
12
12 out of 10. Amazing. Thanks, Immy. We love you. Bye.
Bye.